from Bass Hole Studios in Hollywood, California. You're listening to I'm an Asshole with Doug Bass. We've all been one, so let's talk about it. Now, here's your host, Doug Bass.
He's an asshole, sir.
He's an asshole.
Hey, assholes. What's going on? Thanks for joining us on the podcast. You know the drill. Follow us on YouTube at Doug Bass Comedy or A-Hole Podcast, and also on social media platforms, you know, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, at A-Hole Podcast. Subscribe on Apple iTunes or wherever you get your podcast fix. I can't talk right now for some reason. You know why? Because I'm really excited for today's show. Our guest today is actor, comedian, writer, Alex Enriquez. He does it all. He's currently the co-host of Watch It with Kenny and Alex on the Hot Mic app. I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm really excited to talk to him about it. So without further ado, we're going to jump into talk to Alex Enriquez. Alex, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey,
how you doing?
There he is. There he is with the long hair.
Oh yeah, it's all happening.
COVID hair.
It's so hot. It's so unbearably hot.
Now you have taken I think everyone went through their phase of long hair during COVID. I did for a while, and I was like, yeah, I like it. But then my hair starts to get curly and weird and frizzy, and it's like graying, so it's even worse. It's like a weird, awkward phrase. But you have stuck to it. You haven't gotten a haircut at all, right?
No, it's been since February 22nd, 23rd of 2020. And so it's been over a year now, and I'm definitely not going to go until I get fully vaccinated, which will be a couple of weeks. But yeah, I don't know. I've never had hair like this. Is by far the longest hair I've ever had in my life.
It looks good.
Oh, thank you.
It looks good. I mean,
you know what?
Because like
I like taking care of it.
We all know you having your kind of like pompadour kind of style, which you are known for throughout the comedy community, I would say, and LA in general. People see you, they're like, "Is that Alex?" And then you're like, "Yes, it is. I can recognize him." But now you have a whole new look, and it looks good. I like it.
I mean, I appreciate that. I did. I mean, I had the same haircut for like 15 years, and it was, if I wore a hat and I ran into people I'd known forever, like just we'd make eye contact and they'd breeze right by me. So
right.
I'm now I'm invisible. Now you never know. Like I've been in your home and you didn't know.
Oh wow, really? Jeez.
Yeah.
That's well, you know, yeah. I was like, who is this guy that's just sitting in a chair? I was like, I thought I was dreaming at one point. I thought I was like sleepwalking,
wow.
But I guess you were here. I didn't even know.
You flatter me.
So how you doing? How you been? I haven't seen you in a while.
I've been doing. Keeping busy. Yeah, it's just trying to be self-started for the first time in my life and be productive. So yeah, how are you doing? You're like the man of action.
Well, I don't know about the man of action, but sometimes maybe. I mean, I'm doing fine. I mean, it's it's weird. It's like I'm vaccinated now, so I'm starting to go back out and do like open mics and that kind of thing here and there. So like that's kind of a weird experience, getting back out there in the world of comedy and whatnot, because it's we haven't done it in a year, so it's odd. Yeah, it's very odd. Everyone feels very rusty. People aren't sure what to do. So yeah, and plus I'm already like socially awkward at times, so it's like. Now I got to remember how to like interact with people in person.
I've only known you to be a very gregarious and graceful person, Doug. But I do want to ask: Have you started slap fighting again? Has that reestablished again?
I haven't done that, but only because of COVID. You're not supposed to touch people.
Well, yeah.
So
right.
I'm upset that I can't do that anymore. Maybe one day that will come back. I don't know.
Well. Somebody as good as you are at slap fighting shouldn't ever stop.
I guess I have to wear gloves.
So I just want to put that out there.
I guess I have to wear gloves to do that now, and then people would maybe embrace it. I don't know, because they won't be like, "Oh my God, your COVID germs are all over my face."
They just Purell and then slaps. Right. I mean, like you have to start disrupting these things. I think that's what we found.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've been doing a lot of writing, right? From what I hear over the pandemic.
Yeah. I kind of, there was nothing else to do. And I've always been somebody who could write really fast.
Yeah. That's great. That's a good quality to have. Yeah.
It was just out of necessity. Doing sketch comedy, you have to kind of turn things around very quickly. But also, I spent a long time in advertising, and that was always, HBO would call, give you 90 minutes to come up with 100 different taglines, and so it paid to be able to be speedy. And I kind of set a couple of goals. So like during 2020, I wrote a pilot, like a 35-page pilot in a day.
That's great.
With like no outline. I had a couple of jokes I'd written down and the story in my head. And then in August, I wrote a movie, like a 120-page screenplay, the first draft, in about a week.
That's amazing. See, like I prefer to do that way, but then I also get in my head of like all the rules, like, oh, is this act one? Is this like what's happening with this character? But sometimes that's the best way to do it, is just vomit it out and then go back and figure out certain things or whatever if it's not working.
We're so inundated by mass media and mass culture that we have a better idea for how these things should be structured.
Yeah.
Just kind of innately, I have found that if you have an easy time just doing it without regarding the rules and it fits the structure and it kind of comes out, that means the idea was solid. If you can't just sort of naturally progress through it, I found it's like, for me personally, that might not be the idea worth following down the rabbit hole.
But it's I mean, you and I both come from groundling sketch improv background, so I think that's kind of ingrained in our blood as far as way of writing goes. Getting the idea out there, and then fine tuning it or giving it to a couple of people to read and being like, all right, well, what's working, what's not working? Because then it's like, I don't know. Like I meet so many writers that are like, well, this has to happen and that has to, and it's like, but it's like by the time you get your script to like people that matter anyway, like executives and production companies, there's going to be 50 million notes from these big wigs, and it's going to be rewritten 20,000 times, and then it's not going to even fucking matter at that point. So it's almost like, why not get the idea and the story out there, the characters, because it's going to keep going through drafts. So like, why kill yourself doing like 10 drafts of it yourself before? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel the exact same way.
And I like to write things that we make too. So it's like there's a difference between like writing things like, well, we're gonna make this, as opposed to like I'm a writer and like I can't put like think Vince Vaughn as this character or whatever. It's like I don't know. There's so many people that have opinions on the different formats and stuff or styles. It's kind of crazy sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think that the ultimate gatekeepers you have to worry about for your thing to get made are going to be like, they didn't break into threes. There wasn't enough fun and games or whatever to save the cat. I think that helps people who are writers innate writers who want to tell a story. It helps them adapt to the screenplay format, which is a very specific kind of writing.
Exactly.
Because it's so diagrammatic. And I'm so sorry, I've had a half a beer and no sleep, so I'm getting a little philosophical.
It's good. We're recording this on Good Friday, so I know I haven't even started. I'm drinking a seltzer, but usually I have a drink by now, but I didn't do it for some reason. I'll vamp. I'll stretch if you want to go grab a drink. Like I'll helm the show. I'm a fellow broadcaster. I think I have. Let me. You know what? I should get a. We should have a drink together. We haven't had a drink together.
Let's get a drink together.
All right, I'm going to go grab a drink. We're going to let this record. We'll cut this part out when I go get the drink, and then I'll be right back.
Well, I'm going to talk, and I'm going to fill this with some stuff.
I'll watch it later. Okay.
Yeah. The screenplay is something I feel like people, if they really relax and allow themselves to, can feel their way through largely. It takes practice, and it takes the ability to get over the first draft, rough draft blues, but it also requires repetition. I realize I have the luxury of being able to do that. It's very privileged, which is why I don't waste it. And so I also had the privilege of being in environments that fostered speed. So like I said, I honed this very quick twitch reflex between sketch and improv, where it was about the first good idea and how great you can make it. That's filtered through and really seen me through some interesting creative times and interesting times to create in. And here's Doug.
I totally agree with everything you said.
Yeah. Doug's the guy that got me into fascism. That's what I was trying to say. So, yeah. We're just trying.
When I walked towards my bar, I was like, should I make a martini and really stretch this out, or should I grab a peanut? I was joking, but I was like, Like, what if I took like literally 10 minutes and came back and was like, so let's go. You still all right? Just give me. I gotta go get some. I'm gonna go run to the store and get some olives, and then I'll be right back.
Do you have limes? Can I come grab some limes?
Like, what if I came over to your house and you saw me walking behind your screen, grabbing a lime, and then coming
go to the. Ladies and gentlemen, he's in my home.
That would have been a great.
Citrus.
See, that would have been a great bit if we had like planned that out ahead of time.
Okay. Now you really do have to cut this out because this has to be a left turn that something takes at some point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, and we got to wear cowboy hats.
Yeah, the whole thing just went nuts. That's what happened. Yeah, I grabbed my last Guinness from St. Patrick's Day. There you go.
Well, hey, cheers!
Cheers,
Happy St. Patrick's Day, belated.
Good to see you. Yeah. So I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway, I will hear it later.
Neither did I, frankly.
So yeah, the writing. So you have been writing. You've written a couple projects. And are you in a contest or a festival of some sorts for writing?
I actually had a kind of an interesting Friday 1 week ago because I pushed myself to finish a first draft of something I've been working on since kind of New Year. Mm-hmm. And the moment I wrote end and stepped away from my computer, I got an email that said that two projects, a pilot and a screenplay that I'd written, were into the second round of the Atlanta Film Festival screenplay competition.
That's awesome!
And,
congratulations.
Thank you very much. So it was like I was just telling my wife that because she said you didn't even seem happy, and I was like, there was so much stuff that had happened, and then I wrote 20 pages and punched through something, and I was just so exhausted that the emails just felt like, okay, what else? There's something else now. I just felt like I couldn't feel anything but upset, and that's really the riddle of Alex Enriquez in a nutshell. But
I relate to that. I mean, I feel like comedians we're always like, oh, okay, yeah, this happened. Well, what else? There's some kind of catch, or it's not good enough yet, or something. You know, it's like you're always double guessing yourself. In the end of the day. So I get that, but that's great news. Yeah, Atlanta Film Festival. You. Yeah, I've heard good things about that one. Yeah.
So have I, and my wife told me to do it, and I always do what she tells me to do. And now, I get to advance best in the round. She gets to be right, which is both our favorite things. So
yeah, that's great. Good. Now, also this, so you are co-hosting Watch It with Kenny and Alex on the Hot Mic app. Now, I signed up for this app. I don't know what it is though. I mean, I'm fascinated by it. You watch things and review them, and then are people watching this live? How does this work? What is the deal with this? Explain.
So Hot Mic is pretty easy there. Okay, I know this is your show, but take it easy. Hot Mic is a platform that allows live streaming broadcasts like Twitch, like YouTube Live. The difference, the differentiator there is, ideally you're watching somebody do commentary on something that you both are watching. So the person on Hot Mic's kind of replacing Bob Costas or whatever media figure, and kind
of like Mystery Science Theater ish, kind of, or no?
I mean, on its face, probably more directly like sports broadcasting and commentary. Our take is probably the Mystery Science Theater version of it, because initially we were doing movies. We would just have everybody start the movie at the same time, because it's more meant for live broadcast. But then we started doing okay, what's the least likely sport you'd want to do commentary on? So we set ourselves out for success. We don't know anything about sailing. Let's talk about it for 2 hours live.
That's funny, the abyss. That's funny,
yeah. We've known each other for 15 years and performed together for almost that entire time. So it is never about what is actually on the screen. And then now we're doing a Falcon and the Winter Soldier recap show that I've titled "Watch It Presents Watched It: The Falcon and the Winter Soldier."
Yeah, I saw your post about that, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's cool. That's confusing." It's the same. Watched it, but watch it. Watched it, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah. And that just came out, that movie, right? Yeah.
I used to have to untie these knots for people for a living, and I'm very good at putting them together. But actually the latest. I got to watch the latest episode so I can review it. But it just came out today, and it's an incredible television show.
I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list though. Yeah, definitely. So this is going to be a weekly thing. You're going to watch each episode and on this platform. Now people are watching these movies or shows on their own, right? It's not like streaming across the platform, because that would be like a copyright thing, right? Is it
right?
Yeah.
So it's basically working in tandem with your television,
Right.
and for the like the mainline sports broadcasts that they tend to be meant for, you can sync the app to the broadcast, so it gets you closer to an actual live running commentary. You're watching what the person's talking about at the moment; they're seeing it as well. This is a little slant use of the platform to just basically live stream. So we're also, I think we simulcast on Twitch for that show.
Yes. I just started getting into Twitch. We live stream on Twitch on Wednesdays. But yeah, I don't know anything. It was like video gaming streaming. I didn't know anything about it. But it's super popular. But like now more people are going on it, like comedians and like other kind of entertainers. So I'm guessing like it's going to blow up even more now because more people are going to jump on there trying to get their Twitch in or whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't have any following on Twitch, but it's like it seems interesting. But yeah, again, it's like all these apps, I'm like overwhelmed. It's like, oh, I got to learn this one. I got to learn this now. Clubhouse. That's like another thing we're on. By the way, if you're on Clubhouse, make sure you follow me on Clubhouse at Doug Bass, and
by the end of the broadcast,
Comedy Podcast Club is on Clubhouse as well if you're into that stuff. So yeah, it's a little overwhelming, some of these things, but I guess it's like a necessity to be on these things as comedians and writers and actors, to really throw yourself out there with whatever you're trying to do. And this Hot Mic app is another new. Is this new? Has it been around?
We started on Hot Mic right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Okay.
So at least a year, but probably for some period before that too. And they're great. They do great like brand sponsor, like partnerships and stuff. You can, load sponsor banners on your stream and like there's revenue sharing that way. So they're really cool. And they started doing like prize giveaways and stuff. You can run polls. Like their back end is really friendly. Not to get too into the nitty-gritty of this stuff, like you want to talk about as content creators, it's doubly overwhelming because it's not just how many apps you have to watch. It's like, okay, you got to have OBS and how many capture cards you have. And do you take the compilations, the raw stream of your video gaming, for instance, and send that to somebody to edit together to put into a YouTube? It's all light years beyond where I'm at right now, but it is a reality for a lot of people.
Well, that's the interesting thing. Like OBS, I think we talked about this once before, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to start doing the live stream because I was doing this podcast and I definitely wanted to film it with like cameras and stuff, but I was doing like 2 or 3 cameras and just filming them and then uploading all the footage into Final Cut and then like cutting it and I was going nuts. I was like driving myself nuts to like, film an episode of this thing and then like try to cut it together to like release it the next day. And I'm like, oh my God, this is way too much work for like the final outcome of like 10 people that watch it on YouTube or whatever.
Well,
so I'm like, oh, there's got to be a simpler way. And then you're like OBS, and then that's when I looked at Ecamm Live, which is kind of like OBS, but it's Mac friendly. And then other people told me OBS is a little more confusing, so I just went with Ecamm Live. But I hear both. I'm loving Ecamm Live so far, but yeah. OBS and Hot Mic. I mean, I don't know. There was another program also called like Rizzle or Razzle or something, which was another.
Oh yeah, that sounds familiar.
Which was another thing that someone emailed me and they're like, create 10-second clips on Rizzle, and like they were trying to like get like deals for like performers to do stuff on there, and it's like some of these either take off or they don't. It seems like it's like or a handful of people know about them or they don't.
Well, there's secondary, all of them, to data gathering, which is the real commodities. Like getting every email you get to sign up is somebody you can sell to whomever. And do you remember like Hello or whatever? That was the really stripped down social network that would just there's nothing. It's like Hello or something. It's like hello, something like that. But it was I don't think there were images on it at all, really? And it was all like 100 letter status messages or whatever, and it turned out it was just somebody hired a designer to make that interface just to farm email addresses to sell.
Yeah, see, that's what's nuts. It's like everyone signs up for these things immediately, but they really don't know like, where's my info going? Where are these videos going? It's like everyone just wants to be like first on the new app in case it explodes and like you're part of it or whatever,
Yeah.
Very rarely do people read the "I agree" statement for anything these days. Which is always, it's always, how many times you sign up for like a phone or a service and it's like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I agree. And it's like, I just signed my life away.
If this truly made a difference, they wouldn't even try showing it to me.
Yeah.
Like if this was truly made any difference in the interaction, I wouldn't have access to it, even this little bit that I'm ignoring. So,
like,
yeah.
Like my parents used to be like, you read everything before you sign it. Like double read, like it's like, I remember reading I remember like my first commercial agent, like I was like, oh my God, look at this. And I like read through it like 5 times and then like asked like 3 people. It's like, is this right? I don't know. It's like you buy a car, you read everything, but like anything on apps, anything that's electronically, digitally signed, you're just like whatever.
I go. It's all just fucking Nintendo, whatever.
Right.
Hey, can I cuss on this? I can cuss, right?
Yes. It's called asshole. I just did an interview before this, and someone's like, "Oh wait, we can't curse, right?" I'm like, "Well, the show's asshole. Yeah, you can curse."
Well, that's a part of the human anatomy.
No, it's a polite,
beautiful and elastic part of the human anatomy.
It's a polite, thing to ask. So I appreciate it. Yeah. But yes, you can curse. Fuck, curse. I mean,
fuck. Yeah. God damn it,
yeah,
fuck.
You just do it. Makes you feel good on a Friday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're also an actor. And how are you adjusting to auditioning during the pandemic? Zoom, self tapes, all that stuff. I've yet to cross that frontier. I've heard that the Zoom audition, the live fire arena is a little harrowing. Haven't had the pleasure, but self tapes, it's like to me, eliminating the trouble of having to go to a place is one thing, but then where in my tiny apartment do I find the space to shoot in front of a blank space, and then I got to have the lights and I got to have a good camera, and the whole time I'm imagining the people that are actually spending money every time they put one of these together to really shine, and how maybe it makes a difference for either of us, maybe it doesn't. I just whatever, it's fine, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy, I've done a couple Zoom auditions for like commercials, and then self tape for like co-star stuff, but like I really the commercial thing I like because you don't have to I don't like leaving the house to go to these commercial auditions, like Santa Monica, driving there on a Friday, wasting your afternoon. I mean, I hope that never happens again, to be honest with you. Like I think they should embrace this. Maybe for the callback you go in, but like the first audition, I don't know. I feel like either I don't know. It's saving a lot of people's time, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah, and just like everything else, it's another shift in what actually needs to happen in person. What kind of overhead are people talking about in terms of securing space? And I overall, I like it. The idea that I can have my really talented wife in the room, who's an amazing actress, also amazing at getting good performances out of people,
right?
But then it is, I got to edit it together. And it used to be you'd go into the room, just blah, there it was, bye.
Right. No, I agree. I think like there's good and bad with it. It's like I did one last night for like 2 lines, and it was like, oh, like I waited like all day to do it, and I was like, now it's like people are like, well, you should be doing that within the first hour that you get it and getting it in, because they're casting like earlier, it's like they're taking more tapes now than they would see normal people in real life. So it's like, get that tape in, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I got to do that.
No.
But then it's like, editing it together, the dogs barking, that's a pain in the ass. Like even me doing this podcast is a nightmare when I'm watching dogs. It's like, shit, I want it to be quiet, but I can't, I got to put them outside in the other room. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
We're looking down the barrel right now. I'm counting down until my wife comes home with a bunch of dogs and sets off the so far silent dogs that are surrounding me literally completely right now.
Asleep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. They're waiting. They're just waiting. They know.
That's the thing.
My finger's over the mute button.
It's like, some of these podcasts, I'm like, I got to make this one sound really professional. Like we're in a studio and there's no dog. But then other ones, it's like a free for all with like dogs. It's like, I'm not editing that out. Forget it. It's like, it's too much work. Yeah. It's like, you want it to be easy. You want it to be simple. Get it out there. Let people listen to it. That kind of thing. So when is this next Hot Mic show? Is it once a week, you said?
Yeah, once a week we've been focusing on the Falcon and Winter Soldier review show. So that'll be this Monday at 1 p.m. on Hot Mic and on Twitch through Kenny Donut King. That's his handle.
Okay, I followed Kenny, but I couldn't. Is it one handle? I couldn't find you for some reason. Or do you have a handle?
No, I have my own handle. It's Duke_Midnight, and Midnight is spelled MIDNITE.
That's why I could not find him. I'm like typing your name in, looking around. I'm like, where the hell is he? I don't see him. All right, I'll find him.
I was trying to maximize searchability and recognizability. It's real, again, a real professional advertising move.
No, that's great. I mean, I liked that. All right, so it's gonna be once a week, and yeah, I gotta check this out because it looks cool, and I think it's the kind of thing that I would dig totally.
Stay off of Hot Mic, Doug. You're not welcome there. That's my turf.
I'm sorry.
It's my area.
Can I go on Cold Mic? Is that allowed? Is that another app?
Cold Mic's fine, and it's actually a better app, frankly. So if you want to take that,
mediocre
absolutely.
mic. All right.
Tepid mic is where the money is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So everyone download Hot Mic and make sure you check out their show on there. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. Well, this is the asshole show, Alex. And guests, when they come on, they usually share an asshole story or moment in their life. So, is there a time in your life that you may have been an a-hole? It can be an isolated incident, a chunk of time in your life. Maybe you're one now and you're going through it. Maybe someone thought you were one and you really weren't. Anything along those lines that you'd like to share with the audience.
I have a single white hot incident that was everybody tagged me in that moment on what an egregious asshole I was. So
like tagged you on Instagram or tagged you just
thank Christ there was no Instagram. This is high school.
This
was
okay.
So this is like 40, 50 years ago now.
Right,
but I was throwing a pigskin around in after school, playground with the boys. And it's just like high school age. And I'd never been good at football.
Same here.
But I somehow, at this moment on this day, I was throwing perfect spirals like my arm was a cannon. I was and it began to matter because these other high school kids who were a little younger than us came over and were like, hey, do you want to play? It was even numbers and like, yeah, we'll play. And I was like, the whole time I was like super nervous. I was going to embarrass myself in this football game. It's like, well, here they all find out I'm some kind of weirdo. But again, I was the most athletic I'd ever been to that point. I mean, I was like drilling passes, catching things one-handed and running just a country mile.
Regular Tom Brady over.
I was doing it all, man.
Yeah.
For just that in that day. And I started to feel a little proud of myself. And I started to feel a little down on the rest of my team because we were still like losing very badly.
Right.
And I was like, man, I'm doing great, but we're losing. Whatever. One of these kids, though, on the other team, mouths off, and he says, how about we institute a mercy rule? And his team all laughs. It's like out of the Sandlot or something. Like the mean kids all ha 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 ha.
Right. Yeah. Everyone took sides or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And at this point, the assuredness I was feeling with myself had barred any sort of filter that I would usually tend to keep. Even that at that age, I would try to be a polite kid. So I'm like, 15, 16, whatever. The kid says this thing about the mercy rule, hardy har har. And I just snap back at him and I say, how about I eat out your mom and tell you how her pussy tastes?
Whoa.
And that is exactly the noise that every single other person on the field made at me. And these are other young men who engage in all sorts of talk, whatever. But that like, it was like, whoa. Like even my own teammates were like, man, I don't know that I can back you on that one. But I was like, no, immediately withered. Immediately I was like, no, no, it was right. I was feeling my chest was out. I put too much bass in my voice. And it was everybody, all the other children were like, this was a wrong thing of you to do, Alex. I know we like to have fun and joke, but that was really rotten.
And how old were you at this point? Sixth grade?
I was like 15. I was 15.
15.
I was like 15 talking to a 13 or 14-year-old.
Wow.
Just, yeah.
So that those kids got a lesson that day. And language and imagery, perhaps.
And how about the biggest lesson of all? Don't push a stranger. You know?
Yeah.
You never know,
especially during football. No. Was it
not when I'm feeling good. Not when Johnny Cannonarm is on the field. It was hybrid. Like if you stopped forward progression, it was enough, but nobody wanted to get hurt.
Yeah.
A little rough play, That's
interesting. See, it's like I feel like I've said, or I haven't said that exact thing, but like I've definitely had said things at points in my life where like they just come out. Like you think them, and either they pop out immediately, or like I've thought about things for like minutes, and it's like I'm gonna say it now. No, maybe not. And then I don't, or like I was like, oh fuck, I should have said that. Why didn't I say that?
Oh yeah,
because like if you hadn't have said that, but you thought it and you thought about it for like 5 minutes, you probably would go home and be like, I should have said that. Like you never would have known like how it would have came off in the group or whatever, you know. Obviously, it didn't go well, but
no.
If
In my head, if I zinged him with it in my own head, and all, the imaginary high fives I would have gotten from my teammates. Oh, you toasted him, man!
Yeah,
jeez.
You're envisioning the triumph moment. Yeah, like the celebratory. Like, oh my God, Alex, did you just like that? Just was amazing. How did you think of that? Or like,
oh man,
it's like
it was just my day. It was instead of it being like the cherry on top of an already really great day, I was like, no, of course, at my peak, I will find a way to stumble.
Yeah,
there it was.
It's like the dream sequence in a movie. You know, it's like oh my, and then you come flashback to reality, and it's like you're getting like tackled by the the wimpy kid or something like that.
This animal is still inside my head. I do still have to contend with the beast that
when you left the game or the scene of the crime. How did like that game end? Like after you said that, like was it like awkward to play? Did it just end? Did people go home? Like what happened? Do you remember?
They continued thrashing us, but it was sort of joyless, and we all left a little more shaken. I think that was a little slice of our own Vietnam there that I put us through. We had to contend with a lot of kind of Freudian Faustian issues, if you will, because I really put a lot of venom on it, and there was no like yuck about it. It was mean and meant to harm.
The only thing that could have been like worse, it's like, and I feel like this kind of stuff has happened too. Like when you put your foot in your mouth, is like you say that to that kid. Like what was the exact quote? I forget. I don't want to misquote you.
It was, how about we institute a mercy rule? And I said, how about I eat out your mom and tell you how her pussy tastes?
Right. Okay. So the only thing worse,
and like very fast and very.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you saying that, like the only worst thing would be like that kid's mom is there picking him up, and like she happens to be like right behind you, like on the field or something. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Doug, what if she just died? What if this is his first day on he's really too. Adam's out there, he's really getting used to life again, and look at him playing with the boys, and here I come like, hey, you're dead mom pussy, man. And he has to contend with that.
Exactly. Like it's his first day back out, like the widowed father is like, you really got to get out there and try to make some friends. Exactly. I know mom passed away. And it's like his first time. Yeah. I mean, you don't know. Like those are the kind of things.
I've lost contact.
Uh-oh, you're right. Those are the kind of. I'll wait. There you go. Now you hear me. Those are the kind of things where you don't know like the history or what could happen or I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of people have been in that situation where it's like you say something and someone's there that you didn't realize or some shit like that.
No, I've thought about that so many times. Like I'm sure his mom was fine and that her pussy's great, but I like what if all of the what ifs and all of the what ifs of those situations you find yourselves in where it's just a kind of a blasé and it like could be devastating to somebody. So I think the lesson to me was that's just ice too thin to tread on. You just kind of certain things you stay away from.
The other thing,
I got the lesson very immediately and intimately,
and it's like you can run so many scenarios through your head. It's like, what if that kid came back with like some kind of reply that like blew you away somehow, and it was like
Yeah, she's like, I bet it tastes like your mom's asshole.
Yeah,
like,
or something. It's like yeah, exactly. It's like well, your mom told me it tasted good or something. It's like what? It's like
Yeah.
something you're just like you're not expecting, and it's like oh what? Whoa, and then it becomes like a war almost.
Well, if he roasts me on top of that, if he snaps back with anything, even if it was like, yeah, I bet it's like tastes like your dad's dick or something, like if he's able to get something out on top in that moment, I would have combusted. I think I would have come apart physically because of the force of that act.
Right.
It would have put everybody's upset to rest and just really honed in on what a monster I was.
Yeah.
I bet you find an Easter egg up there, some dumb shit.
Yeah, exactly. You can keep going. You go back and forth, then you have and then the game becomes secondary, and it's a roast battle all of a sudden. Yeah, I mean that would.
Like dropping bombs, and everybody's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then that's the other. And then there's like a whole other element to that, like. When that kind of stuff would happen, it's like so and so would tell like some parent, and then that parent would tell another, and then there's phone calls made at some point where it's like, I heard your son called, said, and then the adults would use like the exact thing, like your son said that I hope like my pussy tastes better, or whatever. It's like to another parent or something. It's like then that like I can't even imagine having kids. We both don't have kids, so it's like. But I feel like those phone calls, like as like teenagers, like that's shit like people are gonna have to deal with, It's like, and it's so awkward and weird, and like the rivalry between like two parents, like in a school or whatever. It's like, oh my god, like there's like a whole nother level of politics there that I don't want really any part of.
It's not having to deal with other parents is maybe one of the best features of not having to deal with your own kids.
Yeah, I would think so because it's an interesting topic because it's like, you have a kid and, obviously your whole world changes. It's all about the kid. But then you start hanging out with other parents, or other adults that have kids, and that becomes your world. And you go to school functions and join PTA meetings and coach Little League and all this shit. And then there's like a whole other level of politics, like we have as like sketch comedy actors or improv people, like that kind of shit that we used to deal with. That now it's like kids stuff in school with parents and grades and the bully and the this person doesn't like this person. I don't want you going to that kid's house because their parents don't want you. That it's like all that shit. Like you start thinking about it, and it's like, wow, that's a lot to deal with.
Well, and specific to our location, I think, and this doesn't apply to any of the children that I know in my life. They're all blessed angels, but there are many LA kids who are assholes.
Oh yeah.
And I was doing a gig, like a charity gig at a nonprofit daycare in Los Feliz like 12 years ago, and I was like, everybody here looks rich. So I don't know what the nonprofit, I don't know why I'm here, but we were raising money or whatever. And I'll never forget this poor woman chasing a toe-headed monster around the playground who was slapping everybody. And she was trying her best to keep her hands at her side and be calm. And she just kept saying, Pen, how do you think this is making mommy feel? Pen. And this kid is just in another fucking galaxy of torture and fun, and I'm like, yeah, that is the LA kid experience. I'm good.
Yeah, and that's interesting because it's like I don't know about you, but like I know a lot of people that have kids, but they're like, my sister has like newborns, but like a lot of my friends have like kids that are like maybe like 5 to like 9 or 10 range kind of. And it's like, that's a sweet spot. Like, there's shit going on and stuff. But, like, it's like, they're fun. They play games, whatever. And I'm like, oh, my God, I forget, like a lot of these kids are going to be teenagers in a few years. And it's like, that's a whole other thing. Like, that's like, that's territory where it's like, I can see some of my friends going nuts, like, over some of the shit. Like, you think teenagers, it's like, you get into crazy shit when you're a teenager. You start dating, you talk back, you rebel in different ways. It's like, I'm very curious to see how some of my friends react towards that kind of teenage land when they get there,
Yeah, it's just you let them loose on a football field to have a couple of yucks. All of a sudden, they're invoking cunnilingus on everybody's mothers. These are the kind of nightmares you have to deal with.
Yeah.
What if they're sullen? What if they're just sulky and sullen and they won't You don't have to be sulky and sullen. Well, when you're a teenager, you do. It's hard. There's hormones all the time, and school sucks. But the crazy is all out there or in here, but it's crazy, and it's they should all be tranquilized and put in a drawer, like on my favorite TV show, Snowpiercer. Just put in a drawer, puberty through there, bring them out, put a college diploma in their hand, and give them a desk job somewhere.
That's what I mean. I think if I was gonna have a kid, I'm just gonna adopt a 16-year-old. It's you get a few years of teenage quality time with them, then they're an adult, 18. They're on their own, It's
yeah. 16,
but you're still my son. You better come home and take care of me and whatever.
At 16, the average 16-year-old, the right set of influences, including just a little bit of cash, that could really just be the one thing that sets them on their way on the right path.
Yeah.
Into their middle management.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Kids these days. Jeez.
It's a topic. We are always, I think, wondering if people are always wondering if we're going to have kids. I don't know if you find yourself in the same situation. Or is this too personal for the asshole podcast?
No, I'll talk about anything. No, I mean, yeah, it is interesting. Yeah, I think my mom at some point was like, "You gonna have kids?" But now I feel like my sister just had 2 kids, so that kind of checked that off for them at least. So it's I don't know. I mean, I think I'd be a good dad. But at the same time, it's so. I mean, for what we do, where we live, it's so. It's a lot would have to change, And I'm not saying that obviously everyone's life changes when they have a child, but I don't know, us living in LA and being actors and comedians and writers. It's I don't know. It's hard. It's hard enough to do this shit here as it is, but it's
I'll tell you this, Doug.
For me, it is.
I bet I could be a pretty damn good carpenter, but I don't like splinters.
Yeah,
what I mean to say there is just because you can do something doesn't mean you gotta or should.
No, exactly. How do you feel about this? I think you guys would be great parents. I think, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's either in the cards or it's not. I think either it's gonna happen or it doesn't. And yeah, it's a choice.
I don't. Yeah, we've had discussions about it because the last thing we want to do is feel like we didn't absolutely explore the idea of it. You gotta
have the discussion. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because there's a clock, and it's a clock that I don't have to worry about. Nearly as much, but we're also my personal thing. We're fairly in the camp of no kids, but my personal outlook on it is I feel like I met my wife very late in life, and I'm very selfish, so I don't want to share.
There you go.
Yeah. Sorry,
and I like to travel, and you like to travel, so it's
oh.
I mean, when we could travel,
yeah.
But I mean, it's when you have kids, those travel trips become different things. It becomes Legoland and Disney, and it's we're not going to Sweden or France, it's that's.
And by the way, that Legoland trip is so much more effort than the trip you would have taken if you wanted. It's all to make the kid happy, and the kid won't be happy.
No,
so it's whoa, just invite a black hole into your life. It's going to bend light and time and eat until you're dead.
Right.
I'm no thanks, man.
And then part of me is also selfish, where it's well, if I'm going to have a kid, I hope they're into what I want, what I like. You know what I mean? Because I'm what if they're this huge jock or something, and then it's now I got to coach baseball or
dude,
little
Marty McFly
soccer.
Bass is going to have to really be into a couple of very big film properties if you catch my meaning.
I mean, yeah, I hope that they are successful in the entertainment industry somehow, writer, director, actor, whatever. I don't know, but that's not fair for me to put that on the kid. It's but at the same time, I don't want to be coaching soccer on Saturday afternoons or baseball. It's I'm not good at that shit. But then you'd be expected to do that, I think, and it's then the pressure is on you to be now I got to learn how to fucking play basketball. Oh, great. I can't even fucking throw the ball into the hoop, So
it boggles my mind that, by the way, just on its basic face. And nobody ever talks about this, that you fuck and then a person comes out, and if you just let them, they'll become an adult and be out in the world. No.
See,
No. We got to figure out something else.
See, that would be my punishment, though, because I know my dad is like really into sports, and like me growing up as a kid, like he would force like basketball, like I had to play basketball, and like and then like I know like it'll skip a generation, like my kid will be like my dad and be like, oh, basketball, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, and then their kid would be like, oh, I want to be an actor or a comedian, it's like, oh, God, and then I'll be too old and dead by the time that happens,
I'll tell you this. Between the two of us, I am the athletic one between me and my dad, while not being an athletic person, but I was a swimmer.
Okay.
And my dad still even would come like, so I think when you dive, he's like giving me pointers. And my dad's afraid of the water. My dad doesn't go in pools, and he's like telling me how to varsity swim better. You still got to find your in. Yeah. I know if I had a kid, I'm like, I can't throw anything for anything. I'd have to be like, watch YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody on there, and then I'll give them pointers.
I like playing like sporty games, like when there's no pressure to win, or you're fucking around and there's alcohol involved or something. It's like it's like
I'll tell
like,
you,
hey, if I could have drank in high school while playing basketball, I'm sure I would have loved it.
Here comes sophomore,
like 15-year-old Doug coming down there. Hey, oh, you missed that one again. Whatever. Here, have another beer. It's like,
you're dribbling with one hand, a Coors Light in the other, and a cigarette dangling from your lip.
If my father made me a teenage alcoholic while persuading me to play basketball, then I may have enjoyed it more. I don't know. I'd be pro now. I would be pro.
More of these.
I would be starring in Space Jam 2 instead of LeBron.
You'd be LeBron. You just 15 years old. I can make these free throws if I didn't have the shakes, man. I just gotta just a little nip to take the edge off.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe that's a new way to look at it. I don't know.
You should have been a drinker in high school. That's where you went wrong.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I started too late. That's the problem.
Don't start too late.
No, yeah, exactly.
Start them young.
This is 18 and above should be listening to this. So don't take anything we say for truth. That doesn't even make sense.
Fucking drink, do drugs, chase people around, fuck, whatever.
Yeah,
do it.
Just be careful with everything. The
That's fascists are going to outlaw everything cool anyway. So
if
just
people are
do
coming
it
to
now.
this show for advice, then I don't know what to tell them.
I'm flipping off the camera right now. That's what I say to advice.
They're in the wrong spot. But tell your friends and subscribe.
Subscribe for non-advice.
Here's a question for you, Alex. Have you ever gotten anything autographed? And if so, by who and what was it?
I have gotten a bunch of stuff autographed. I got an address book autographed by Kevin Smith.
An address book? So something that you'd put your friends and family contact in. By Kevin Smith.
It's a little pocket-sized one.
Film director Kevin Smith. Okay.
Yeah.
Why an address book? Is it because that the only thing you had on you at the time? Is that what it was?
It was. It was a last minute. Like he was making an appearance at a convention downtown, so I went at the last minute. It's the only thing I had on me. He was doing a panel, and he was coming around. There was only 85, 90 people in the hall. This was like after Dogma, but before Jay and Silent Bob 2, right. If that places it for you.
Yeah.
So he's still kind of up there.
Yeah, totally.
That's all I had. And I used to carry it on me every day and did for a couple of years after that till it fell apart. But yeah, I had him personally autograph it. Kevin Smith.
Did you ask him for his address and phone number since you had the book?
He wrote. I think he wrote in a 555 number. He saw the he took the God bless him. He took the opportunity for the joke without having to be set up, and that's right. That'll be eternally to his credit.
Yeah. Do you still have this?
Oh no, it disintegrated in my pants long ago.
You mean you didn't frame it and put it next to Dogma DVD or whatever?
Yeah, it's wedged between two identical Criterion copies.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting with autographs? It's like I remember trying to get some autographs in middle school or high school, and it was if you got one, it's oh, frame it. It's going to be worth something one day, And I always thought that. I always thought you got to get this stuff framed. It's going to be worth a lot of money. And I'm it's not. Unless the person dies or dies young or I don't know.
Not to mention a certificate of authenticity on something that you had signed yourself, which is needed for high value collectors.
It is needed for that, unless you have like an expert come in and line it up and whatever. But now it's almost like the selfie is like the new autograph, or the selfie of you with the person and them signing the thing. That's like, there's your proof or whatever. And you put that next to the autograph as you're trying to sell it.
You frame it in a shadow box, a tasteful shadow box, a selfie of the original photographer,
right?
Getting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's autograph outside of LAX.
Exactly. Like it's pretty cool. I mean, it's interesting. It's like I think I had like what are the autographs I had when I was a kid? I think I had an autographed poster of Phenomenon with John Travolta. And that was because like my mom went to like school with like John Travolta's like ex-brother-in-law or something like that. I don't know. And like anyway, there was some sort of communication, and it was like, oh, Doug is really interested in acting and movies and blah 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 blah. And somehow like the executive assistant to John Travolta like sent me a poster of it signed, and I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing. And I remember we went out and got a frame for it, and it was like hanging in my basement, and I hadn't even seen that movie yet. And I was like, then I watched it, and I was like, all right.
He has a brain tumor.
But then part of me was like, fuck, man. Like I was like thinking about that, and I was like, but I was like thinking about it. Like now I'm thinking about it and being like, all right, yeah, cool, but like, if that was an autograph poster of Grease signed by John Travolta, that would be cool. Phenomenon? Yeah. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. It's like Grease, Phenomenon, Fanatic. It's right there.
Or Saturday Night Fever. Like give me one of the classics. Give me a Travolta classic autographed. That I would probably still keep, or I could sell. I don't know. No one wants Phenomenon. It was amazing in how mediocre it was. I just remembered though, I'm pretty fancy. I got to go to the premiere of the Dennis the Menace movie that came out in the 90s. With Walter Matthau.
Who wouldn't sign my program, because me and another kid were going around getting the autographs of all the stars, including Mason Gamble whatever.
Dennis the Menace.
Leah Thompson, who was wearing a like a kind
Christopher
of a
Lloyd?
studded bra top. He was not there. He was Joan Plowright got her autograph.
Right. But Walter
Matthau's security was like, Mr. Matthau fell off his bike this morning. He won't be signing autographs. And I think I got this from Walter Matthau, like, and they turned to do something else, like the withering look and my wrist. I can't.
Yeah. See, now that would have been worth money because he's dead now. That would have been a good one to have.
And a picture of me getting him to at least waving me away. I can't.
Yeah. I talked about that. I asked when I was in high school, I got to go on a Harrison Ford movie set. And I talked about this, I think, on one of the podcasts, but I'll just mention it briefly. And at the end of the day, I asked him for a photo with my friend. And he was like, not now, guys. And I was like heartbroken because I was like, oh my God, there's Han Solo, there's Indy. I'm like, that's a good picture to get. That's a good get. And he was just,
hell yeah,
he was a total dick. And I was like, oh man, as a 15-year-old, I was like, man, that like it was an awesome day until then. Like he ruined the day.
It's well, yeah, exactly. And
I'm a kid. I wasn't an adult being fucking annoying or whatever. It was like,
get out of here, kid. Fuck him. You know what?
Get off my set.
Now on your broadcast. Fuck you, Harrison Ford.
Yeah. If he's listening, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fuck you. You know what you did.
Exactly. He does know what he did. Well, Alex Enriquez, you really put yourself out there today. You came on the show. You told us an asshole story of top degree asshole story, I would say. As a child, telling another younger child that his mother's pussy might taste nice.
No, I said why don't I eat out your mom's pussy and tell you how it tastes?
Exactly.
And tell you how it tastes.
Coming from a 15-year-old who's eaten a lot of pussy at that age.
Oh yeah.
Sure he was like, what?
Yeah. He's like, you and I both know you don't have any idea. Now, you have no shot with my mom.
Now, if that was his comeback, that would have been like, all right. Kudos, kid. You got it. Yeah.
I'll run home and start a new life. Bye.
Well, you really put yourself out there today. That was a great asshole story. The way we end this show is by everyone stating their name and saying that they are an asshole. So the floor is yours.
I am Alex Enriquez, and I am an asshole.
There you go, folks. Alex Enriquez, and he's an asshole. But he came on the show, and he redeemed himself today. So we do thank him for that. He can go in peace now by not being an asshole. Alex, it's been great seeing you. Thanks for doing the show. Is there anything else you want to plug, talk about?
I thank you for the bandwidth. I really appreciate it. It was nice sharing a drink with you. Twitch, Duke_midnight, Instagram, Dr. Alex, Twitter, Alex Enriquez, but I'm never there. And just find me somewhere and argue with me.
Yeah, Alex loves a good argument. So make sure you check him out on the Hot Mic app show. We're all going to watch that. And thanks, Alex, for coming on. And I hope to see you in person soon. Now that things are starting to go back to normal a little bit.
So, I think that'll happen sooner rather than later.
I think so. Too.
I'm in your home.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You are here. That's right. We did that bit before. You're gonna when I exit the show, you're gonna see me walk behind him going the other way now.
Oh, if we can make that happen, Jesus! If we can make that happen.
Next time we'll have to coordinate it. All right. Well, say hello to Katie Rose and the dogs.
I will.
And thanks for coming on. All right, guys. Remember, don't be an asshole. But if you are, laugh about it and talk about it. Bye.
You've been listening to I'm an Asshole with Doug Bass. Please subscribe to us on all streaming platforms. Have a good asshole story? Email us at doug@dougbasscomedy.com. We'll see you next time.